to all. We'll discuss an example for pair t-test. So here we go with an example. Systolic BP of normal individual who had been recommended for 5 minutes, then taken 2 ml of 0.5% of solution of hypotensive drug was given and BP recorded again. So did the injection or of the drug lower the BP? So we have blood pressure measurements before and after administration of drug. So before administration we have the BP, and after drug administration we have the BP. So next what we have to do is, so before drug administration we'll consider it as an x1. So x1, what we have, what all we have data will write down here. So first measured BP will take as 122. We'll considering systolic BP here. So 122, then 121, then 120, 115, 126, similarly 130, 120, and this is going to be 125 and 128. So like that only we have another example, that is after medication, does the BP is reduced or not, we have to check. So we'll consider that variable as x2, and we'll write down the BPs after giving the medication. After giving medication, we'll after checking the BP, so what all the values are there, we are go on writing here. So sometimes what they will do, they will give directly in the form of question, or else sometimes they'll give like before and after. This is sometimes like this also they'll give, otherwise they'll give in a paragraph question and they'll ask us to frame like this table. So next what we have to do is, so we have x1 and x2. So our very next step is difference, finding the difference between these two. So we'll consider it as D. So this D is nothing but x1 minus x2. x1 minus x2. So 122 minus 120 is nothing but 2. Like that, what all data is there, we have to go on after subtracting, go on writing. So 4, and this is 0, this is 4 again, and this is 1, and this is going to be 3. So after writing these values, what we have to do, we have to add these all values. We'll get the value, what we'll get, we'll write down here 27. So what we have x1 x2 after difference, finding the difference, that is D. So next we have to do, that is we need to find out the D bar value. So D bar is equal to summation of D divided by N. So in how many observations we have, we can count any one of these columns. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So we have 9, and so n is 9, so 27 divided by 9 will get around the value as 3. So what we have to do, the next step is D minus D bar. So we have D as well, we have D bar as well. So 2 minus 3 minus 1, 3 minus 3 0, 5 minus 3, it's going to be 2, and 1 minus 3 actually, then 1 minus 2, then 3 minus 3 is 0, divided. No need for adding, directly we can move for D minus D bar whole square. So 1 square will be 1 0 0 4 4 1 9 1 4 and 0. So what we have to do, we have to add these all values. We'll get around 24. So we'll move towards the formula. So to calculating pair t-test, we have a formula. T is equal to difference mean divided by standard error. So standard error formula we have as standard deviation divided by root n. So what we have here, so we need to do standard error formula, means we need to know first standard error. So standard error for us is summation of D minus D bar square divided by N. So this is our standard error. So we can put the standard error in the formula and we'll get, or else we can do first standard error and then we need to do, we have to do standard deviation followed by standard error, and then we need to put the value in this, we'll get the t value. So before that we missed one step. For every calculation we need to frame an hypothesis. So we need to frame an H naught, that is null hypothesis. The null hypothesis says that there is no significant difference between BP before and after administration of medication. So this is our null hypothesis. Following framing null hypothesis only, we have to go for this part of calculation. So we'll do this standard error first. So we'll put the value. So this summation of d minus d bar whole square, we have 24. We'll write this as 24 and n value we have as 9. So we have to calculate this. After calculating, we'll get it around as root 2.6, which is nothing but 1.61. So in standard error we have got standard deviation of 1.61, so divided by root n, which is nothing but 9. So standard error will get around 1.61 divided by 3. After removing the root, we'll get 3. So this is, will get around 0.53. So we have all these values. We'll put directly into the paired t-test formula. So difference mean is nothing but our d bar divided by standard error. So we have a difference mean of 3. We have calculated here already. This is our difference mean. Divided by we have a standard error of 0.53. After dividing this, we'll get what we'll get around 5.6. So 5.6 is our calculated paired t value. So t is 5.6. So next step is we need to find the degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is equal to number of observations minus 1. So number of observations we have as 9 minus 1 is equal to 8. So the degree of freedom 8 and level of significance, or else we can write as alpha significance at the range of 0.05. we have a table value or else critical value as 2.31. So next step, we need to frame an inference. So in inference, the calculated table value, calculated t value or table value, we have around calculated value as calculated t value we have 5.6. See, we have it as 5.6. So next our at the level of alpha significance value we have as 2.31 at 0.05 significance, and at the degree of freedom 8. So next so our calculated t value is more than the table value or else critical value. So hence null hypothesis or else this H naught is rejected. So we have to remember that when the calculated value is more than the table value, then we need to reject the H naught or null hypothesis. If the calculated value is less than the critical value, then we have to accept the null hypothesis. So if H naught is rejected, means next step is we need to frame an alternative hypothesis. So this alternative hypothesis says that there is a significant difference between BP after giving medication. So what kind of thing we have observed? So what did we need to know that what they have asked in the question. So they have asked that did this injection will lower the BP? Yes, it is lowered the BP. Hence our H naught is rejected and alternative hypothesis is accepted. So there is a significant difference in the BP which has been decreased after giving the BP medication or hypotensive medication. Thank you.